next.
I can't move. The room's filling with smoke. I don't know what to do. Please help me.
Well, definitely, you know, I'm only human.
And here is the scene at the Kemper Arena. Most of the fans have come here to see the hometown fighter, Tommy Morrison. And this is an extra added bonus as they take a look at world champion Mike McCallum. Let's take a look at how these two fighters size up. The 34-year-old McCallum going up against the 32-year-old Minton. McCallum 2 inches taller. They both weighed in at 168.5. Minton, who has been fighting super middleweights and light heavies, actually comes down to 168.5. And McCallum fighting over the weight of his championship, so of course that would not be endangered. The rules here in Missouri: 3 knockdown rule is in effect. Standing 8 count is not in effect. You can be saved by the bell only in the final round, and the scoring on the 10-point must system. It is a casual walk to the ring for champion Mike McCallum, who is actually in this fight, Sean, looking to get in a good 8 to 10 rounds, wants to get in some work. He is also followed in the ring by the veteran trainer Eddie Futch, who's now working his corner.
And I am really surprised that he's not broken a sweat yet. He could get caught cold. He says that he has a little bit of ring rust, but the best way to get that rust off is to oil up and get those parts moving.
And in the other quarter, Frankie Minton says he has one fight plan. That's go straight at McCallum and go at him early. We're ready for the introductions of the fighters. Let's go to our ring announcer, Paul Fredrocks.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Kemper Arena in Kansas City, Missouri. My name is Paul Fredrocks, and welcome to all of those on the USA Television Network joining us coast to coast tonight. Welcome to Kansas City. It's nice to have you with us. Tonight, our feature bout, ladies and gentlemen, is scheduled for 10 rounds. The super middleweight division. Your referee from Kansas City, Missouri is Danny Campbell, ladies and gentlemen, Danny Campbell. The judges scoring tonight's contest are Wendell Allen, Janice Anderson, and Ken Gray. Now, ladies and gentlemen, introducing the principals. First, in the red corner, right here. Wearing the blue trunks, weighing in at 168.5 pounds, with a professional record of 22 wins, 11 defeats, 1 draw, with 12 knockouts, from Indianapolis, Indiana, Frank Minton, ladies and gentlemen. Also in the feature bout tonight, the opponent, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the black trunks, weighing in at 168.5 pounds, with a professional record of 38 wins, 1 defeat, and 31 knockouts, from Brooklyn, New York, the WBA middleweight champion of the world, Mike McCallum. A 10-round fight, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, we know the instructions, adjustments, follow the rules, and obey my commands at all times. Take hands in a great fight. Keep it clean.
All right, we're going to have a pool to see how long ring announcer Paul Fredrock's voice holds out in this evening of boxing. It is scheduled for 10 rounds, a non-title fight. Mike McCallum, who has an April 1st date, versus Sambu Kalambe in defense of his title. Kalambe served up the only defeat in the career of Mike McCallum, who is 38-1. McCallum had had just beaten Donald Curry in his 6th defense of the junior middleweight title, then stepped up to face Colin Bay and lost a 12-rounder. Since that time, he has been able to win the middleweight title, beating Harold Graham, and since has had a couple of defenses against Steve Collins and Michael Watson. But that Watson fight, a 11th round knockout, came last April, and it's 10 months since McCallum has been in the ring. And you see he has some excess poundage as he tries to get rid of that, along with some ring rust, preparing for the Colin Bay fight.
And that Donald Curry fight, as you mentioned, he knocked him out with 1 punch. He said he was living high off that fight. He was really excited, reading the headlines, thinking that he was a big 1-punch knockout artist. And then he got beat by Colin Bay. Boxing is very humiliating. When you think you're the best in the world, that's when you get beat.
Tell us a little bit about his opponent tonight. Does Frankie Minton have it to pull off the upset this evening?
Well, Frankie Minton here in this first round has given way too much room. The only chance that I had given Frankie Minton is to smother McCallum. McCallum's seen all these different styles. He knows how to fight a boxer that knows how to fight. So what I had hoped that Minton would do was confuse McCallum, but he's not doing that here. He's giving McCallum too much room. He's letting McCallum set up his offense and his battle game plan over this fight.
Well, the battle game plan for Minton originally was to go right at Mike McCallum, but he apparently has chosen another course of attack here in round number 1.
Well, how quick we lose that game plan, especially when we're in there with the world champion.
Although McCallum has done nothing to make Minton lose the game plan.
He's also cautious because he realizes, you know, that the next stop is Sambu Colin Bay, April 1st, and he doesn't want to waste anything here.
Minton was ranked number 10 several years ago, the WBA top contender in the super middleweight division. His biggest win came against Henry Milligan, a 4th round knockout. He has faced the likes of James Kinchin, put up a tough fight, losing in the 9th round, then losing a rematch. McCallum now is opening up the pace here in the first. Now keep in mind, McCallum, who of course, if he sees the opening, will go and get it. But he is more interested tonight in getting work. He said he wanted to go about 8 to 10 rounds. The Colin Bay fight is over the horizon, and he needs to get tuned up. He's been waiting 10 months, hoping that a fight would materialize with Michael Nunn, which would be a big payday, but that did not materialize. Now a word from our local cable system.
Let's go.
National hero in Jamaica. He's born in Kingston, grew up in Brooklyn. Mike McCallum, who is the champion in the middleweight division in the WBA, is unranked by the other organizations. WBC middleweight champ Julian Jackson, who McCallum beat back in '86. He knocked him out in the 2nd round as junior middleweights. And Michael Nunn, of course, the IBF champ.
They are rival organizations.
Right now in the corner of Mike McCallum is 79-year-old Eddie Futch, 59 years in the business. He has trained 16 world champions. The list including Joe Frazier, Larry Holmes, Michael Spinks, Ken Norton, Bob Foster, Alexis Arguello. McCallum, who has had a long line of trainers and managers. Futch has been on and off with him for 5 years, but he did win the junior middleweight championship with Futch in the corner, as he did the middleweight crown.
Well, they call him Papa Smurf, talking about Eddie Futch, and the reason is he's the Papa of boxing. Very wise. There's a good left hook by Minton. McCallum can't get lazy.
Minton 22-11-1 with 12 knockouts. We talked about some of the fights that he's had. Several years ago, he fought for the NABF title, losing to Anthony Willis. Stopped in that fight. He's had fights with Chris Teozo, now a champion. Stopped in the 6th round. He beat Nicky Walker. Walker, then a top 10 super middleweight, lost to Frank Winterstein in France. Stopped in the 10th round. And the last fight going up against Virgil Hill, a non-title fight in October.
Minton is a guy that tries at least. You got to give him some credit. At least he's throwing punches. Said he was going to take this match just one round at a time. And right now, McCallum has given him the room to go a few rounds. McCallum, although in that first round, he was trying little things. He tried a right hand that rocked Minton. He dug down to the body that rocked Minton. Minton, though, threw a good left hook earlier in this round. That's Minton's best chance. To wind up and throw something hard, try to take out McCallum. McCallum will try to set something up.
New on the Adventure Channel. They're tough, they're brave, and they're
Frankie Minton in the blue. And in the first 2 rounds, Sean, you are seeing why McCallum is taking this tune-up fight after being out of the ring for 10 months.
Now, he is an old veteran pro, but his age may be a factor of him being so slow those first 3 rounds. Secondly, the ring rust that he talked about. I mean, not
necessarily in that order.
No, but the best way to get rid of that ring rust is start moving, get those punches going. And here in this 3rd round, he's finally broken a sweat. It takes a lot of the old-time fighters a few rounds to get loosened up, get those muscles working.
McCallum is also 9.5 pounds heavier than he was in his last fight, beating Michael Watson at 159 pounds. 168.5 for McCallum. McCallum's fight plan was to box, to move, to go to the body of Minton.
Well, he is showing some good movement. To move doesn't mean so much to bounce around on your toes around your opponent. But see the movement, the head movement from him? The nice thing about movements like that is you're still in range that you can retaliate. If you're bouncing around, a lot of times you're not.
McCallum has to be one of the oldest current champions at 34. Trying to think of the list of champions. Dennis Andres stands out as one fighter who has to be older, although both Andres and McCallum are certainly questioned about their age. Is McCallum only 34? Regardless, he says he prides himself on being in the best condition, although he has lost quite a bit of that over the last 10 months.
Here's a fighter in McCallum that's 34, and Ray Leonard at 34 says that his career is over.
The uppercut.
McCallum does say, I've taken good care of my body. I've trained for every match. Look at him go downstairs to that body. He realizes that that's bread and butter down there.
And now upstairs, and he is really bothering Minton here in the 3rd round.
Now, these are not real hard punches that he's throwing. He's putting them out there, setting them in on his opponent's face, getting him used to being hit. Now, he will load up on him a little bit later. He's trying to get the work, trying to wear off the ring rust. Unfortunately, there's no place to get rid of that ring rust except in the boxing ring. The night of the fight, in front of a crowd, and the heat of the light.
But it's not bad getting rid of the rust in a workout and getting paid for it, too.
Absolutely. That's a great thing about fighting. That's why I fought instead of worked out. When you box, you get paid for it. When you work out, the only thing you get bumps and bruises.
If I buy an extended Safari XT from Jim...
Has been fighting essentially as a super middle and also fighting as a light heavy. So
working the shots that he wanted to. Now, between rounds, this is a real pro. Eddie Futch. Here's a point where the referee could step in and stop the fight. Right here, McCallum, unless he wants the work, he can just throw everything he's got and the referee will stop it. There's Minton fighting back finally.
But staying in the corner.
Well, if he's not punching back, the referee will stop it.
McCallum 38-1 with 31 knockouts. But only 12 of those have come in the first 3 rounds. McCallum generally wearing his opponent down.
McCallum is following instructions to the T. Eddie Futch said, throw a lot of little shots upstairs to his head. Look at this. And then dig the body.
And now the referee, Danny Campbell, is calling for the doctor. And that is why. Those little shots to the head adding up against Frankie Minton.
You bet little shots like that, a preponderance of punches do add up. They cause more damage many times than that one punch knockout blow. The knockout blow, you're out, you don't get hit anymore.
Doctor suggests to stop it. Doctor cannot stop a fight in Missouri, but Danny Crawford certainly taking the advice of the physician, and he has stopped the fight here in round number 4. And I think the biggest one who was disappointed that it was stopped was Mike McCallum. The way this one was going, certainly enjoyed this workout. But this is where it was stopped, Sean, in the corner here in the 4th round.
And just getting some work. They told him between rounds, go upstairs, make him go for the headshots, bring his hands up, and then dig the body. And here he is upstairs. The little punches like this are adding up. They're hurting Minton here, and then downstairs to the body. Then he goes back up to the stairs. You work those hands. You work your hand on your opponent just as if they're yours.
Sean, do you think McCallum may have to fight another tune-up before Callum Bay? Do you think he got enough work here tonight?
Well, just going through the training routine, getting ready, getting prepared to box in a ring, and getting out there and showing just a little bit. All you want with a tune-up is just that, just a tune-up. You want a little bit of competition, not too much, though.
And we'll be back and talk with the champion Mike McCallum when we return to Kansas City. What time we'll find out right now from ring announcer Paul Fredrocks.
Ladies and gentlemen, the doctor stops the fight due to a cut above the right eye at 121 in the 4th round. Ladies and gentlemen, our winner in the blue corner with the black trunks, Brooklyn, New York, the WBA middleweight champion of the world, Mike McCallum. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike McCallum.
121 of the 4th round. Mike McCallum goes to 39-1, scoring his 32nd knockout. For the local stations, we pause for these words, and we'll be back with Mike McCallum in just a moment. Champion Mike McCallum in a tune-up fight tonight stops Frankie Minton at 121 of the 4th round on a cut. And Mike, you had talked about this fight. You were looking to get in 8 to 10 rounds as a tune-up for Sambu Kalambe. Didn't work out that way. You think you may have to have another tune-up?
No, I'm ready for Sambu Kalambe now. I'm on a mission, and it's the first stop. My next stop is Monte Carlo, where I see Sambu Kalambe. Believe me, I'm ready.
Mike, what is it about this fight that tells you now, hey, I'm ready for Kalambe?
Well, I've been off for 10 months, and like you asked me before if you'll see Russ, and I explained to you that I'm just human. But tonight, my punches were very precise. I was off a little bit in some spots of the rounds. I was followed behind in the 1st round, and I started stepping across, cut the ring off. And I've been working on that in the gym a lot. Sambu Kalambe is somewhat a runner, boxer runner.
What did it feel like fighting this at 168.5?
Well, ironically enough, I felt very good. I felt very strong. I don't know the way I look because I wasn't looking at myself yet. I had to see the tape, review the tape.
You looked heavier than you generally look, yes.
Yeah, I felt strong.
Now, wait a second. Any thoughts? You've won the junior middleweight championship. You've won the middleweight. Could it be over the horizon, the super middleweight?
Quite possible. Yeah. I feel good tonight. And I have to get 1 or 2 more fights to really see how I really feel at the weight. But I felt good tonight. And I feel my performance was, after 10 months, I think was okay, you know. I'm a perfectionist. I like to be exact, precise in everything I do. But I think I was okay tonight. And 2 more months, 5 or 6 more weeks training for Kalambe. We'll put me right where I'm at, drop a couple pounds, and I'll be all right.
Mike McCallum, the WBA middleweight champion. He has a record of 39-1. His lone loss came at the hands of Sambu Kalambe. He has a date with Kalambe on April 1st. We'll be back for more in just a moment.
Steve Leon. Introducing first in the red corner, wearing the red trunks, weighing in at 184.25 pounds, making his professional debut. From High Point, North Carolina, Dave Alverman. 3-time Kansas City Gold Gloves champion, Dave Alverman. 187 pounds. His professional debut from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Here is Crawford Harper. 4-round light heavyweight, ladies and gentlemen. And now let's go to the referee.
Let's get your instructions in the locker room. Listen to Mike's instructions. Let's come out fighting. Let's make it a good fight, okay?
Steve Leon, the referee, issuing the final instructions to two fighters making their pro debut. It's a 4-round light heavyweight encounter. Dave Alverman with his back to you, making his pro debut at the tender age of 30. The former Kansas City Golden Gloves champion is now living and working out of High Point, North Carolina, where he runs a very successful furniture business. And after an amateur career that ended at the age of 22, deciding to give it a shot, turning pro. Crawford Harper, 26 years old, out of Tulsa, making this one look like a tough man contest.
Crawford Harper looks like he is, this is his pro debut, which it is. He's 26.
Looks like it's his boxing debut. 6'1" and 185 is Harper. Alverman at 6 feet, 184 and a quarter.
The best thing that Harper has is that southpaw stance. He's a left-hander. That could be perhaps confusing Alverman here in this first round. Now, if you get...
Oh, wild uppercut by Harper.
Tough man uppercut.
This one could turn into quite an entertaining one before it is out. From time to time along the way, especially when a first fight goes short, there are fill fights available, and you just never know what you're going to get. You go to the grab bag. Sometimes you labor through 4 rounds, and sometimes you see the weird and the wacky.
Steve Leon better watch out. That was a wild uppercut. Crawford Harper. Blue trunks, red stripes.
And Harper, as you would say, stepping in the bucket with his punches. We're halfway through the first round. Crowd here getting into this one. Harper all over the place, slapping.
Crawford Harper
looks like
Jerry Lewis.
I was going to say that. Choreographed by Jerry Lewis.
Boy, this is a tough place to learn how to box in the ring the night of the fight. Plus, pro debut on national television. Poor kid.
Something from this fight that will make our March edition of From Bell to Bell and Beyond. And we've just gotten started. Round number 1, a scheduled 4-rounder. Big crowd here at Kansas City to see their hometown fighter, heavyweight Tommy Morrison, stepping off the silver screen into the real ring tonight to face former champion Pinkman Thomas.
Now, this is why fighters like Harper are dangerous. They don't box like the normal boxers. You really can't. They're difficult to get a shot off on. Look at his body work from Alverman, then he goes upstairs. Good move. Start at the body. Those fighters that are inexperienced can't move the body as well as they can the head.
Down. We have 12 minutes hanging over the horizon. Crawford Harper, who is winning some sympathetic support here in Kansas City. He's in the black trunks. Dave Alverman in the red. A lot of discussion going on in the corner of Harper in between rounds, but just kind of wonder what can be said.
Well, I think they were saying, "Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name."
But Alverman certainly being very patient in his attack.
You have to give Crawford credit. He's at least punching. You know, the first part of the fight, of the round, when it begins, is when he comes out and he shoots everything that he's got. If you're Alverman, you wait until he shoots that, then he's going to let down right here. Now you come back. There he comes. Now look who's holding on.
And now blood from the nose of Harper.
Welcome to professional boxing. Now this is where boxing is really difficult. You're tired. It's early in the fight. I know we're halfway through this fight, but still 2 rounds seems like so long.
And even longer in the locker room. Tommy Morrison and Pinkman Thomas await the main event. Anxious to get in the ring and get it on. Big right by Overman. And Crawford Harper, who was scooting all over in the ring in the first round, now slowing down here in the second. The circumstances, Steve Leon, the referee, may be stepping in.
Harper's ready to go.
They both go down. Overman, nearly tackled by Harper, getting tangled up, goes flying. Harper will not get up. What is going on here? No, that is it. Referee not giving an indication that the fight was stopped. Now Crawford Harper entertaining the crowd into the second round. And now the doctor is in the ring.
Well, he did come out and throw everything that he had. When he let down, that's when Overman saw that he let down. He lost that concentration. He was ready to get out of this fight, and Overman helped him out. Dave Overman. Had some shaky moments there in that first round. He was getting whacked with some fast punches.
As we said before, when we go to the 4-round fills, you never know what you're going to get. All smiles in the corner of Harper. Well, he now goes down as a professional fighter.
Well, he's happy there's no more punches coming in his face. Here it is, right at the end. Those punches right in the face. The most tender part of your body is your nose. And boom, you smack that guy right on the nose. Both of their eyes water, but
and there goes Overman.
When you got a guy like Harper, he's going to take you down with him.
You know, it couldn't be a clean knockdown. There had to be something going on. We'll be back.
There are things known and things unknown.
In This Corner is brought to you by Advil in tablets or caplets. Advil, advanced medicine for pain.
We receive many letters about the boxing equipment, specifically the gloves. What do they look like? How are they made? What do boxers look for in boxing gloves? Well, tonight on Tuesday Night Fights, we'll take you behind the scenes.
Good overhand right by Taylor.
A sweeping right-handed.
Again in the second. Throws a punch and actually goes down as Solis hits him.
Solis, though, has not been knocked down. And Hoyle goes.
In a glove, you look for, the glove being compact and comfortable, whereas you can get a good grip, or, make a good fist. Some gloves you have, it's hard to make a fist, and, it's like they're not, you have to, break them in. It's important that you're able to get a grip, a very good grip in order to make a fully closed fist.
For instance, you have a glove which is a thumbless glove, which fighters are trying it out. As far as the damage is done or that you do to another boxer, it's much safer, I tell you that.
I like the thumbless gloves because another fighter can use that to, you know, poke in your eye or something, or to thumb you, which you can get a detached retina or something like that. So that's why I would prefer that. And then with a thumbless glove, you can't basically really hold as much because your hand is, your thumb is secured inside.
Every commission has 8 ounces for certain weight, 10 ounces for bigger weights, but I still like the softer gloves. Some of the gloves are a little too hard, the surface. It's too hard and they cut.
The best glove for us is the smallest glove there is, you know, the least padding in it, and the best constructed glove.
With the glove on, we're talking about being able to hit as hard as you can with those knuckles, but at the same time have enough protection not to hurt your hands, bust yourself up.
I also prefer the padded, but not with horsehair, because horsehair, you know, is real hard, you know, and you get hit with that, they can hit with a brick.
I always look at that as a weapon. A weapon.
And here is the finished product. Now, Sean, you take the glove, you're ready for the fight. What do? You inspect it. What are you looking for?
Well, the first thing I do is take a good, clean look at the outside. Make sure there's no abrasions on it. Then I want to put that glove on. I've got plenty of time, so I'm going to slip that glove right on. Now, what I want to do is I want to be able to get a grip in there. I want to be able to clench my fist and ball it up. If you hit a guy with an open fist, you're going to break a knuckle. So I'm looking for that. Secondly, I'm looking to make sure it's not too wide here. If it's too wide, the glove will slip around, and again, it can cause you to break a knuckle. As a puncher, I was more interested in a glove that would fit my hand. I wasn't interested in the protection for my hand. I was more interested in a glove that I could ball up and then hit the other guy on the chin with.
Now, how many times in fights did you put a glove on before the fight, just didn't feel right, and then what happens?
Then you go back to the commission and you say, hey, this glove has a problem. There is a cut on it, or you say there is, I can't get a grip in it, and they will usually replace it with another pair of gloves. Sometimes they'll try to put the glove on themselves and work it out for you, but what you do not want anybody messing with your gloves. Once I put this glove on, and if I'm fighting in it tonight, I want to put that glove on, tie it up, pull it tight, lay it down, and nobody else goes near that glove. If somebody with a great big hand comes along, they put that great big fat hand in my glove. When I put that glove back on, it's going to be stretched out.
But that'll be the only time you use that glove. The commission then passes it on another fight.
That's right.
Another card.
After the fight, the commission gathers up the gloves, and then they either retire them to a less important fight, like a 4- or 6-round fight, or if they're too badly beaten up, which I would hope would be the case when I'm fighting somebody, they would just retire them completely.
We also get quite a few letters. It is not like a baseball glove. Every boxer does not own their own gloves.
Right.
It is supplied by the commission.
I always wanted to own my own gloves because I wanted to sew a little horseshoe in there.
You wouldn't do that. Only for luck, right?
I've been hit with a few horseshoes.
If you could do that, you'd come out of retirement, right?
That's all I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for the rules.
Well, the Everlast business, they've been around for 75 years. They really took off in the 20s when Jack Dempsey was fighting. Now they're actually getting into other businesses, like the fashion business. As a matter of fact, I believe this that Sean is wearing is an Everlast tie. No?
No.
Okay.
Not yet.
Stay with us.
Feels pretty
when
good.
we come back, we'll have In This Corner, or KO Comments coming up next.
I've been waiting for
Also,
this.
Tommy Morrison and Pinklin Thomas inching closer to beating for the main event.
How fast does Dristan nasal spray start working to clear up congestion?
Hey, I didn't expect it to start to work this fast.
Dristan nasal spray starts to work in seconds.
The Denorex side really feels like it's doing a lot more than the Head & Shoulders side. It feels real cool and tingly over here.
Both have a dandruff ingredient, but Denorex adds an extra anti-itch medicine you can feel working.
The tingle told me that Denorex was doing more for my hair.
1985, 86, 87, 88, 89. For 6 straight years, the full-size pickup from GMC Truck has retained more of its original value than any other in America. That's why sales of the Sierra are growing faster than any other full-size pickup. And we intend to keep it that way in 1991 with these new Sierras. And in 92, GMC truck. It's not just a truck anymore. It's quality on the road.
It's Tommy Lasorda with a way to help you lose weight that's going to shake things up. Ultra Slim Fast Fruit Juice Mix. Juice it up, lose weight, feel great. Mix it with your favorite fruit juice. Juice it up, lose weight, feel great. It's a delicious, nutritious part of the Ultra Slim Fast plan. Juice it up, lose weight, feel great. New Ultra Slim Fast Fruit Juice Mix. Give us a week, we'll take off the weight.
Welcome back to Kansas City. We're at the Kemper Arena for Budweiser Presents USA's Tuesday night fights. Tommy Morrison and Pinklin Thomas are coming up next. But first, Sean, a chance to get to some KO comments. We've been so busy the last few weeks, haven't been able to dip into the mailbag. Let's go to our first question tonight. And it comes from Darrell Blake from Duggar, Indiana, town named after Duggar Phelps. Does a boxer lose his invincibility after he's been KO'd for the first time?
Well, Darrell, sometimes he does. It depends a lot on the boxer. The fighters that I've noticed over the past who were built up through their careers so invincible, like nobody can touch them. Nobody can even last with them in the ring. All of a sudden they get beat, and it just blows them mentally. Mentally, they're not prepared to be beat. And for that reason, those kind of fighters aren't able to come back. They lose their invincibility. But I have seen fighters who have gone on without it affecting them and gone on with their career.
Which I believe is the case with Mike Tyson, although when Tyson was knocked out by Douglas, you felt that his invincibility was gone forever.
Well, he has come back successfully, but it's against questionable competition. And he will certainly be in the minority in my books if he does come back and successfully and retains once again the heavyweight championship of the world. But he is doing it maybe the right way. A lot of times what they do, like a Pinklin Thomas we have tonight, he gets beaten one fight. Well, he goes right in with another strong, young, vibrant fighter instead of taking on somebody his own age and somebody that's not. Just some building fights to work his way up.
All right.
You got to start right over again.
Let's move on now to the next letter on this edition of KO Comments. And Norman Germani from El Centro, California. What is used on the fighters' cuts today? Is subsulfate solution legal to use?
Well, Norman, anything that is not approved by the commission is illegal to use. They don't want to use any iron-based products in that corner. If you get the iron-based products in the eye, it'll blind you immediately. So what they're using today, the best stuff that they use is some stuff called Abatine. They use it a lot in open heart surgery, and it stops those cuts like that. They also use adrenaline chloride 1 to 1,000. And another thing that they use is some stuff called thrombin topical. And I've unfortunately had all of those on my face.
All right. Sean O'Grady handling those KO comments. If you have a question for the champ, why don't you send them to us at USA. There's the mailbox. And here's the address. KO Comments, Post Office Box 4126, New York, New York, 10185. Budweiser, the king of beers, presents USA's Tuesday night fights. Our main event, 22-year-old Tommy Morrison, the great-grandnephew of John Wayne. He's had his moment on the silver screen as Tommy Gunn in Rocky V, the protege of Rocky Balboa, and now he gets ready for the real thing as he goes up against former world champion Pinklin Thomas. And Sean O'Grady, you have two fighters right here who have something to prove. Tommy Morrison, is he for real? And Pinklin Thomas, is he washed up?
Well, this is a big test for both fighters. At 33, Pinklin Thomas still believes that his career can continue. But Morrison, on the other hand, a young up-and-coming fighter, this is a proving fight for him because after stiffing James Quick Tillis in the first round, he wants to prove to the people that he is a real fighter, that he's for real and not just a boxing actor.
Well, the last time we saw Pinklin Thomas was a year ago in June when he went to a dismal defeat at the hands of Mike Hunter, standing around for only 10 rounds. So what does he expect to gain out of a fight with Tommy Morrison?
Tommy's not ranked. Tommy hasn't fought nobody ranked.
his big popularity has been a Rocky V movie. That's all. He's a strong kid with a big left hook. He's not even ranked in the top 25. What's so credible about that?
Well, what would a win over a guy like Tommy Morrison do for your career?
I think most of all, it will shut up all the critics out there. You know, talking about my legs is gone and I don't have it no more and one leg is in the grave and things of that nature. You know, if I didn't fight no more, that would satisfy me more than anything. I'm gonna fight this fight like it's my last one.
And it may just be that. Pinklin Thomas in the ring against Mike Hunter, Sean O'Grady. Thomas said he was in the best shape of his life. He certainly looked it, but didn't fight that way. The thing that scares me tonight, before this fight, Pinklin Thomas saying the same thing. He's in the best shape of his life.
Well, in the best shape physically, doesn't always get it. For the fight with Mike Hunter, he says that he was not in the best shape mentally. He says that training in Orlando, the heat of the summer, took all of the fight out of him. When he entered the ring against Hunter, he didn't have anything left.
And the last fight was a 9th round stoppage at the hands of Riddick Bowe. So Pinklin Thomas has lost 4 of his last 5 fights, and he's trying to prove not to get into title contention. He's way beyond that, but to show that he is not a washed-up fighter trying to answer the critics. Tommy Morrison has had many critics. One, as you've seen before, is Pinklin Thomas, who says, who is he? He's a star now because he was Tommy Gunn in Rocky V. He has Bill Caton behind him. He's a golden boy. That is Tommy Morrison.
You can't fight the press. I can't fight the dog press. And as long as they got Balboa on the brain, he'll always be champ. The man fought wars in the ring.
Tommy, face facts. You're in his shadow. I don't know if there's any way out.
Man, this is your old man talking. No. Listen to me. There's a way for you to get the respect you deserve, but what you got to do is challenge Balboa to fight man to man.
The 6 months that we took off to make the film, it came at a time where we all needed it. I mean, we're fighting about every 2 weeks. We had 19 fights in 1989, which is an extraordinary amount of fights for a heavyweight. A lot of heavyweights make a career out of 19 fights. And the reason we did that is to gain the initial experience. And now that we have, then it's time to step up in rounds and certainly in competition to try to improve that way. Had I been 27, 28 years old, 29, like Ray Mercer has been 29 for 4 years, you know, I probably would have been declined to take that much time off. But I was only 21 at the time, or 20 when we first started filming, turned 21 during filming. And you know, I felt like because of that, we were able to bounce back.
One-time contender Quick Tillis fell to the hands of Morrison in 1 round in January. The acting career is behind for now. The focus is on boxing, and tonight the focus is on former heavyweight champ Pinklin Thomas.
I think it's going to take some rounds. You know, I don't. He's not going to come to. This is not a guy that's come to lay down. I think he looked to me that he was in very good shape, and you know, I don't take anybody lightly. If I can get him out there and win, I will. I'm not going to carry anybody, but I'm prepared mentally and physically to go 10 rounds if that's what it takes.
Walking into the ring at the Kemper Arena, Tommy Morrison, who boxed out of the Kansas City program as an amateur. He returns to his hometown tonight. His greatest ring success so far has been the heavyweight championship of the world in the movie Rocky V. Tonight, he looks to take 1 step closer to becoming a real-life title contender. Stepping into the ring, undefeated, and facing his biggest name in Pinklin Thomas. But it's a question of what does Pinklin Thomas have to offer 22-year-old Tommy Morrison. Sean, match these two up on the blackboard.
Pinklin Thomas, you got to be ready early because Tommy's going to start fast and test his best punch. A powerful left hook. Keep that right high and try to beat him to the punch with a quick right of your own. Tommy Morrison, the Duke, like your great-granduncle, get those big hot guns firing early. Put pressure on Thomas when you do. He'll use his experience to hold, tie up, and lean. But don't wrestle. Pull your hands out and then punch.
The Tom's tail of the tape. Morrison, 22 years old, 11 years younger than Thomas. At 6'2", 224 and a half. Thomas 6'3", 226.5. And it is Thomas versus Morrison. Morrison is shorter by an inch, but has the reach advantage. We are ready now for the introductions. Big crowd at Kemper Arena behind their hometown hero, Tommy Morrison. Here's our ring announcer, Paul Fredrocks.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready to get nasty? This bout is scheduled for 10 rounds in the heavyweight division. Your referee is from Kansas City, Missouri. Say hello to Danny Campbell. The judges scoring tonight's contest are Wendell Allen, Arthur Morey, and Ken Gray. And now, ladies and gentlemen, introducing first, in the red corner, wearing the camouflage trunks, weighing in at 226.5 pounds, with a professional record of 30 wins, 5 defeats, 1 draw, and 24 knockouts. From Orlando, Florida, here is the former heavyweight champion of the world, Minton Thomas. His opponent tonight, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the black trunks, weighing at 224.5 pounds, with a professional record of 25 wins, no defeats, 21 knockouts, the pride of Kansas City, Missouri, Thomas the Duke Morrison! 10 rounds heavyweight division, ladies and gentlemen.
This afternoon, obey my commands at all times. Let's have a good, clean fight. Let's go, guys. Good luck, big guy.
Tommy Morrison saying all the right things, having the respect for Pinklin Thomas as an ex-champion, but maybe going in with the ghost of Pinklin Thomas. And Thomas trying to dispel any critics that he is washed up, but he'll have to come through tonight because he is facing his 5th defeat in his last 6. And very noticeable, Sean, here at the start of the fight, Tommy Morrison has already worked up a sweat, and Pinklin Thomas is bone dry, and he's going up against a knockout puncher, Morrison, who has 21 knockouts, of which 13 have come in the first round, and he's knocked out 19 of his 21 victims in the first 2 rounds. But here, in the beginning, looks to be a respectful Tommy Morrison, watching out for the once famed jab of Pinklin Thomas.
Pinklin Thomas knows that left hook is coming, but he is a slow starter. It'll take him a few rounds to get warmed up, whereas Morrison is a quick starter. He likes to set the pace in the onset. Ooh, good left hook to the body by Morrison.
And that is his big punch. Morrison's last fight against Quick Killis ended very quickly in the first round. That was the biggest name he has faced. And now it is Morris putting on the pressure. Thomas is already cut here in the first round.
That is over his right eye, and it is a nasty cut. Right through the eyebrow.
Bring on it. Watch him hold.
Morrison with a big record, just starting at this point to get ready to face some big foes, and there's that wicked punch. Hard to imagine this one getting through the first round. Morrison, though, has not won over the critics yet, looking to prove that he is not just the next great right hope. He has a couple of things going for him, his left and his right.
And he's got more going for him, Al. He's got Thomas hurt in this first round, and these two men are fighting in a 16.5-foot ring. There's no place for Thomas to run.
And Morrison is staying right in the middle of it. He's heard it before, people saying he's a good puncher, but he can't fight. Well, Mike Tyson heard the same things. Pinklin Thomas taking big shots here in the first, and now Morrison has settled down, steps back, looking to pinpoint his shots.
And that cut is bleeding over the right eye of Thomas. Thomas has to get back to that left jab. He come out the front part of this fight, throwing that left jab. And here, late in the round, he's standing toe-to-toe. Now he's confused about the cut on his face and about the big punches that Morrison is landing. He is stunned. He's rocked. This is what happens to fighters when they lose that competitive edge. They can't get out of the way of those punches. Every shot that Morrison is throwing is nailing Thomas.
Pinklon Thomas said it earlier. He's going to fight this fight as if it were his last. And it should be. Coming down to 10 seconds. We'll pause for a word from our local cable system. And the big surprise right here is that Thomas has survived the first round. Pinklon Thomas will not come out for the second round. Cut severely on the forehead right over the eye. And Pinklon Thomas waved it off. The doctors came to the corner. They did not even have to examine him. It was Thomas waving it off. He says, that's it, I'm done. Now it's a question of whether he was talking about just tonight's fight or is it the career for the former heavyweight champion. At the end of round number 1, Thomas taking a severe beating. And he goes to his corner, and this is what happened.
Pinklon is quitting here. He's saying that's all. His corner man right there leading in, Blake Rogers, is trying to encourage him to try to go one more round, to try to get back into the rhythm of this fight. He's through. I'm through, he said.
And Tommy Morrison finds out. And for Tommy Morrison, this one scripted as well as Tommy Machine Gun in Rocky V. Now back live in the corner. Morrison receiving the hugs all around. And Pinklon Thomas, who drops to 36-1.
Well, we thought it may end in the first round, but I wrote right here, Al, what I thought would happen. And I've got KO in the second for Tommy Morrison. I think the writing was on the wall. Pinklon Thomas was talking about retirement, provided he did not win tonight, but he put up a good talk.
So Tommy Morrison, who has not exactly faced an all-star lineup, his last 2 fights have been named fighters, but names of the past. Knocking out Quick Tillis in the first round and stopping Pinklon Thomas after 1.
And here is the punch. That's the one that opened up the cut. The left hook from Tommy Morrison.
Thomas's corner contending that it was a headbutt, but right there, the video shows that it was the glove of Tommy Morrison that opened up the cut and closed the career of Pinklon Thomas. So Morrison goes to 26-0 with his 22nd knockout. He has been to this point taking the George Foreman approach, selecting his opponents very carefully, building up the KO record, now getting some exposure. But he said before the fight with Pinklon Thomas, he wants to step in against a world champion regardless of what he has left, and that he's working on so many things. Morrison said he hopes this goes a few more rounds so he could show the people what he has been working on, his conditioning, his speed, his movement, besides the punching power. And realistically, looking at the big picture ahead, Morrison feels it will still take another 6 months before he gets against any ranked fighter.
Well, Bill Caton, Tommy Morrison's manager, said that Tommy is learning so fast that he's going to be rated in the top 3 by the end of the year. He says we're going to speed up the process.
We'll be back to talk with Tommy Morrison in just a moment.
Heartburn? You know what to do about that.
But what if it's heartburn plus gas?
Well, now comes Tom's Plus. Calcium-rich antacid relief plus gas-busting simethicone.
No other antacid gives you that.
No, sir. To get rid of heartburn plus gas, don't get caught minus. New Tom's Plus.
Tomorrow morning, experience a new high. Introducing Mountain Fresh Dial with a scent so big, so bold, so bracing, it's right up there with your peak experiences. New Mountain Fresh Dial.
I would like to say that the cut was a significant cut. It was above the eye, and it may have impaired his vision with bleeding. I think they could have controlled it on the side, and I would have given him another round.
How did you make that determination? Because you thought it could be controlled. What exactly were you looking for?
Well, you look at the depth of the cut and the type of cut. The bleeding was fairly well controlled even by the time I was in there with pressure. So based on that and the fact that with the medications that they could have used, I really do believe that the bleeding could have been controlled. It was a significant cut. There's no doubt about it.
But all in all, it looks like Pinklin made the right decision in stopping.
Oh, I think so. I think it was obvious he was overpowered.
It was just the wrong decision for Pinklin in taking this fight. Okay, Dr. Popa, thanks for joining us. We'll be back and talk to Tommy Morrison in just a moment. Tommy Morrison and Tommy over Pinklin Thomas. 3 minutes of workout for you, and the indicator to Sean and I beforehand was the fact that you came out with the sweat and Thomas was bone dry.
Well, I think you know, coming to the ring, you know, being relaxed and being warmed up is just as much a part of training as sparring and hitting the heavy bag and everything else. And you know, if he failed to do that, that kind of gives everybody an idea of maybe he was blowing a little smoke and didn't train as hard as he did. But the guy's a world champion. That's something they can never take away from him. And I respect him for that, and I respect the hell out of his whole camp.
Tommy, you said that you're disappointed. Why?
Well, you know, I mean, after you work so hard for a fight, you put all the blood, sweat, and tears, and you know what I'm talking about. And to come, you know, I'll take them whenever and as easy as I can get them. But I was hoping that this would give me the opportunity to show some of the people what I've been improving on, and I think I did. I'm sharp and everything, but I felt like I wanted to get into the 5th, 6th, 7th round and see where my conditioning was, and also show people where my conditioning was.
Are you also disappointed, Tommy, because you weren't able to take him out with a real clean shot? I mean, he stopped on the stool.
Not at all. I mean, you know, Pinklin Thomas is nationwide, worldwide known as having a very durable chin. I mean, I just watched the Tyson fight last night. They took Tyson a 19-punch combination. He's never been stopped in less than 6 rounds. But he went 8 rounds with Rick Bowe, which is he's a hell of a contender, and I'm just very thankful that come out of it, you know, healthy.
The Tyson fight, though, several years ago, we've seen Pinklin Thomas. He's lost 4 out of 5. And the last fight we saw with Mike Hunter, he basically stood around for 10 fights. Did you feel in going for 10 rounds? Did you feel going into this fight that it really wasn't a win situation for you? If you had gone long with Pinklin Thomas, critics would have said, hey, he's having trouble with a washed-up fighter. And if you beat him in one, which you did, hey, he beat a washed-up fighter.
You know, I mean, people got their own opinion. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. That's why it's such a great country. I mean, you know, I went in there and did established a good offense and did what I had to do. I don't feel like it's a setback for me. I think maybe some people might be a little disappointed. And obviously, we're going to take another step up in opposition. And we're going to get there. But people need to understand I'm a young fighter. We've got a lot to learn. I got to get bigger, faster, stronger. But we're certainly on the right track. And we should be thankful for that. And so should they.
Tommy, we're going to take a look at the fight, the round. And I wonder if you could step in, join Sean O'Grady as our color commentator. And we'll go back to the opening bell, round number 1, between Tommy Morrison in the dark trunks and Pinklin Thomas in the light. And exactly what are you thinking of now?
Well, I noticed that he came out. I know he's got a quick, fast jab, and I was trying to pick the jab off and counter it, avoid the jab any way possible, whether side to side or up and down or a combination of both. And something that I noticed in Pinklin's last 3 or 4 fights, and even in the Tyson fight, not very many heavyweights go to the body. And I was concerned that because of his sideways stance and the way that he covered himself, that he might be a little difficult to hit to the body. But because of my low position, I come in low, I get a lot of power out of that shot. That's one of the shots that basically felt like it's probably the shot that's got me where I'm at.
He is one of the fighters that has a good left jab. Were you trying to zero in on that, try to kill that jab first? Because he came out jabbing.
Well, I felt that, you know, if I would ever tag him, and I wanted to put him on the defensive, and it felt like that's something that I was able to establish about midway through the round. He was throwing the jab, and I was trying to come over the jab, slip the jab to the outside and come back with a power right. And was pretty successful at that, hit him a couple of times, and then he was worried about getting hit in the head, and then it was time to go to the body and make his hands come down.
Tommy, you've shown great respect for Pinklin Thomas as a former champion, now in the postgame and also the pre-fight interviews. Had you come out a little bit nervous, wondering what you would be facing?
Very much so. I mean, you know, in my opinion, I think every great champion has the ability to pull one more
great fight.
Now, they had claimed that was a headbutt, but there was the punch. Could you
it was a straight right hand. I mean, I saw it open up immediately, and I think so did he. All we did butt heads once was after the cut was already there, and it certainly didn't cause another one. So I was able to go to the body pretty well, as you'll see here in just a few seconds.
At this point, did you feel it would be over quickly?
Well, I felt I had him in. I certainly had things going my way. I was just going to slow down, try to throw more combinations rather than loading up with one shot. I knew that sooner or later the opportunity would come. I certainly didn't expect this to happen, but was pretty successful with the things that we tried. We were very fortunate.
You certainly look like you've loosened up at this point.
Well, basically, you know, it's pretty much it's got that jab, and I think it depends a lot on that jab, because the jab is the type of punch that keeps people off balance and keeps them from mounting a credible offense, and I felt that I took that out of the way with the body shots and getting his respect a little bit.
Is there anything, Tommy, that you learned from this fight?
I think I mean, obviously every fight is a learning experience. If you can go into a fight against a former world champion and come out successful, I think there's something to be learned there. He's been there and he knows what it takes, and I'm on my way there, and I'm willing to learn. So things are working out pretty well for us. We're very happy.
What you learned in this fight?
Well, I mean, that's a little difficult. I mean, I felt because I hurt him so early, it was basically like just trying to put things together. Had it gone a little longer, I think I would have learned, and got the idea of what patience is all about, because he is a very durable fighter. And I was expecting him to come out. Unfortunately, he didn't want to.
Did you feel that he would quit here?
I had no idea that he would quit. And I mean, he's a very durable guy. I mean, you can tell that he doesn't want to go on. But I think the body shot is what did it. I mean, a lot of heavyweights kind of stay away from body shots. That's what you kill the body, they have a nice too.
Tommy Morrison goes to 26-0. He records his 22nd knockout, of which 20 have come in the first 2 rounds. And Tommy, Mike Tyson has heard the same thing early in his career. Guy who could punch, but he can't fight. You've heard the same thing. What do you say about that?
Well, I think Mike Tyson's proved to everybody that he can fight. I mean, he was a great champion, and I'm probably one of the many people that probably be surprised if he doesn't regain the title somewhere down the line, if he gets his personal life together. We're basically in the same position that he was a few years ago, and we're just as hungry, or maybe even a little hungrier, and I certainly think we have our priorities a little straighter.
Well, right now you go to 26-0, 22nd knockout. One of your rare losses came in the amateur ranks in the Olympic trials to Ray Mercer, and I know he right now is on target. You want to face Ray Mercer, who is the WBO heavyweight champ. How far away is that?
Well, if we keep improving the way we have, and things seem to go our way, it's a possibility that may occur possibly in July or sometime shortly after that. And I think it's a fight that will be very fortunate for both of us. Ray's is a good fighter. He's a good puncher. He has a lot to learn. I have a lot to learn. So we're basically in the same class, and hopefully we'll be able to learn from each other. But that's a fight that certainly will happen, hopefully, in the near future.
What happened in the fight in the Olympic trials?
Well, I was basically when I have no excuses. He was a bigger, stronger, and better fighter than I was. I certainly feel that I've improved a heck of a lot since then, and feel that I've improved enough that it might make the difference.
You look forward, though, to step in the ring before that fight? You want to be
that's a strong
active?
possibility. As a matter of fact, I think we're going to fight in April on the Holyfield Foreman card. There's a possibility of that, and it's something we're looking forward to. An opponent at that point hasn't been named yet, but whoever it is, you can bet that we're going to train harder for that than we have, and hopefully things will go our way again.
All right, Tommy Morrison, Tommy Machine Gun in Rocky V, and tonight could not be better choreographed than you saw in the movies. First round, Pinklon Thomas unable to answer the bell for the second. We'll be back with a pretty good fight as we turn the clock back. Welcome back to Tuesday Night Fights. Tommy Morrison doing away with Pinklon Thomas very quickly. Chance to remind you where we will be next week, and that's Birmingham, Alabama, night of heavyweights. Joe Hipp takes on David Bay, the one-time contender. And also Bert Cooper against Lauren Ross, 2 scheduled 10-round bouts. Heavyweights next week from Birmingham at 9, 8 Central Time. And this program note, a dangerous mountain climb turns deadly when a killer stalks the slopes. Clint Eastwood stars in the Iger Sanction, the USA movie, Saturday night at 8, 7 Central Time. back at ringside, and it is now time to go back in time. The date, September 1955. And at that point, it was 41-year-old light heavyweight champion Archie Moore, who had been fighting since 1935, 20 years in the ring, and he had been campaigning very hard. As a matter of fact, spent $50,000 to campaign with the sports writers around the nation in trying to finally get a heavyweight championship fight. He did on that night, going up against the 32-year-old undefeated champion Rocky Marciano, who went into this fight undefeated at 48-0. It was at Yankee Stadium. They drew a crowd of 61,000, and Rocky Marciano went into the fight a 4-1 favorite. Let Budweiser take us back in time.
From San Diego, California, and Toledo, Ohio, wearing black trunks, weighing 188 even, the light heavyweight champion of the world and challenger, Archie Moore. His opponent from Brockton, Massachusetts, wearing white trunks, weighing 188 1/4 pounds, heavyweight champion of the world, Rocky Marciano. 15 rounds for the heavyweight championship of the world.
Rocky in the white trunks out of his corner. Before the first real blows are even struck, this battle is destined to make the record books as one of the greatest in modern times. It's the first $1 million gate since the famous Louis Kahn fight in 1946. With so much at stake, both men are careful through this first round. But almost at once, the fight takes on the pattern it will keep until the explosive finish. Marciano, slightly heavier, 8 years younger, and very much stronger, is forcing the fight. The challenger, rated the more skillful boxer, again and again jabs and counters. Smartly and always looking for an opening. Watch this session closely, for in it, Rocky gets knocked to the canvas, something that's happened only once before, a real ring rarity. Here it is in slow motion. That sneaky right. Rocky's up at the count of 2, a little dazed but not hurt, and the fight goes on. The battle is reaching its climax. Round 6 is one of the most thrilling of the fight. Before it's over, Archie Moore is twice sent to the canvas. Here it is in slow motion. is up at the count of 4. Marciano is on his man like a tiger.
Archie Moore miraculously survives the 6th round. We pause now for our local cable systems and will return.
More, you see it in slow motion. It reaches the count of 6 when the bell saves him. And now the finish. Archie's right eye is partly closed. He's still managing to make a fight of it, but the heavyweight champion of the world has too many punches and too much strength. Rocky just never stops. dramatic climax of the fight in slow motion.
The time, 1 minute, 19 seconds of the 9th round. Winner by a knockout, and still heavyweight champion of the world, Rocky Marciano.
Back in time, September 1955, which turned out to be the final fight in the great career of Rocky Marciano, the only undefeated heavyweight champion to retire with the undefeated mark at 49 and 0, and that was clearly the fight of the night.
And it was funny that, interesting that Archie Moore went on to fight another 8 years as a professional before he retired. Even before that match, they were talking retirement for him.
Rocky Marciano was urged to retire even before that fight at the age of 32, and what was compelling about this fight, Sean, was the great condition that Marciano was in. Now looking back at the fight, you figured he could have gone several more years, and he said it was the conditioning that was the difference in the fight, but he kept on coming. That looked like a slice of life of a Sean O'Grady fight.
Gosh, I tell you, the funnest thing about this job now is that I get a chance to look back at some of these classic fights. These are the fights that I grew up with. I watched and I tried to learn from fighters like Rocky Marciano, perhaps one of the greatest. Absolutely one of the greatest. I had a chance over the weekend, Al, to go to a Rocky Marciano benefit. A group raises money to send handicapped children, give them scholarships, send them to school. And I was so very proud that Muhammad Ali was there. A lot of the big-name fighters, Howard Davis was there. Vito Antuofermo was there. A lot of old-time boxers who come back and give it back to some of the city. I was proud to be a part of that.
Also amazing about that fight, Archie Moore, who had campaigned so much for a heavyweight fight. He would get another heavyweight championship fight, that is, down the road, losing to Floyd Patterson several years later. But as you mentioned, he was in his 20th year of fighting, and he would continue on 8 more years to the age of 49. Crafty fighter, Archie Moore, and now he is lending tips to the 40-something crowd in the corner of George Foreman.
And that's just why George Foreman has him in that corner. He wants to get those tips. And Archie, as they get up there in age, they're going to slow the reflexes. But Archie knows how to tell those fighters, hey, you got to watch out for this or that, or keep your hands higher, and don't get worried about getting hit a few times.
Back in time.
Welcome back to Kansas City. Early tonight, a scheduled 10-round heavyweight bout between up-and-coming Philip Jackson, 17-0 with 15 knockouts, going up against William Morris, a very durable fighter. And we'll pick it up in the 7th round. Well, they slugged it out to conclude round number 6. And we move into the next round. Philip Jackson undefeated on the left. William Morris 8-7-1 on the right. Jackson has won all 17 of his pro fights, 15 by knockout.
And the last round, the 6th round, was a good round for William Morris. They told him you won that one, but you got to win them all from here on out.
And now it is Morris taking a step back.
And this is what Morris shouldn't do here. He's been so effective, and Jackson has enabled him to stand nose-to-nose with him. He smothered Jackson's punches. There's a look into the corner of Philip Jackson, Pat Burns. Former fighter himself, 17-0 amateur record. He has the Miami Police Boxing Gym. He's owned that for 9 years, developing a lot of good amateur products out of Miami.
And he thinks that this is one of his better products, Philip Jackson, who may be taking a step back tonight.
There's a body shot from Jackson. One of the first we've seen, a left hook to the body.
Free in there, work now, both hands free. Work out of there.
Third man in the ring, Danny Campbell, the referee. Halfway through the 7th round.
Watch that hold, Mike. Hold now. Work out of there. Both hands.
Well, the
This was a matchup of a knockout fighter against a fighter who just doesn't get knocked out.
Well, you know, the fourth round was an important round for this match because that round slowed. Suddenly, Jackson said, hey, I'm going to be here for 10 rounds. You know, the amateur fights are scheduled for 3 rounds. That's all you go. He had 58 amateur bouts, and he had that 3-round clock in his head. Now he's got to worry about 10 rounds instead. Morris still punching. There's not much on his punches, but he's still throwing them.
Oh, there's a big right. Jackson tags Morris, and now pouring it on along the ropes. There's one standing 8 count here in Missouri, so Morris takes the count. 10 seconds left. So that is should be scored as a knockdown. Jackson coming on at the end of the 7th round. 7 rounds down. It's a scheduled 10-rounder. Next week, Sean and I will be in Birmingham, Alabama. It'll be a night of heavyweights. Joe Hip, with a record of 18-1 with 12 knockouts, goes up against the former top 10 contender David Bay. Hip looks to propel into the national spotlight with a victory on that night. Also, Lauren Ross, who has won 16 of his 17 fights, 11 by knockout, goes up against Bert Cooper. And Ross feels if he could get by Cooper, could vault into the world rankings in the heavyweight division. That's next week when Budweiser presents USA's Tuesday night fights from Birmingham. Back here in Kansas City, let us go to round number 8. Philip Jackson and William Morris.
Trying to roll with those shots, but he ran into one of them. Sat down. He did not go down to the canvas, but he sat down on the ropes. The referee stepped in and said, I'm going to give you a 10 count. Referee has got control of every match in a boxing match.
Although now we've just received word, Sean, that it was not ruled a knockdown. He did start to count. There is no standing 8 count in Missouri. So William Morris gets away with that, is not to score the knockdown, and we're still trying to figure out exactly what happened in there. And right now, Denny Campbell almost sandwiched by the 2 heavyweights. Well, perhaps perhaps he thought there was a stand. It happens sometimes.
That could have happened. They're only human, these referees.
Because he gave the 1 count and then he kind of let him go. Perhaps the referee caught himself.
I thought momentarily he was going to wave it off and call the fight, but I didn't think it was time to do that.
There's the time remaining in the 8th round. Pat Burns in the corner of Philip Jackson has been harping on when Morris puts his head underneath your